Hey, I'm Mike from Make CT Better and the podcast Vent CT. And today we're going to be talking about auto repair shop ripoffs, specifically dealerships. So let's start with, they just built a new dealership in Connecticut. And I'm not going to list the place, but I mean, you could Google it. These things cost like $4 million. And you look at, some of the garages that I've been to and posted videos of, these are small little gas station shops. These guys are the people our parents used to take our vehicles to get fixed back in the heyday. And frankly, I never heard my mom or dad bitching about our mechanic ripping them off. Today, it's actually a common thing. And I'm not even kidding you. I go to Napa and I said, hey, anybody ever complain about, dealerships, specifically the one in your town? All the time. Yeah, it's a common thread of knowledge. But hey, you do have options and you do have certain protections. However, you can't sleep on it. First, always make sure you use a credit card. I mean, if you have to use your debit card, it is what it is. If you feel that your car or your repair shop didn't do the actual work, you can dispute it with your bank. They will reverse the charges pending the information or evidence that you find. You can take your car to a regular local mechanic, like I did, and they'll actually let you look right up in there. And, here we go. They'll tell you whether you have a legitimate gripe or not. And then you file a complaint with the Department of Motor Vehicles. Now, you just can't file a complaint over anything. So obviously, false statements related to, your vehicle condition is a big one. If they come in and say your car, it's worth fixing, and you find out $14,000 later that it wasn't, and these guys are, telling you, oh, everybody does this. Yeah. And we have some of those we're going to talk about. The other thing is credit cards. You just can't charge somebody for something that you didn't actually do the work for. It's a crime in Connecticut. Section 1465J, false statement. So you'll find all of these links on our ventct.com website to help you navigate. Certainly billing is a huge thing. If you feel like, hey, you know what? I think that these guys overcharged me. You can argue with the DMV. Certainly, if you find that they didn't actually put a new battery, or they didn't repair an oil leak, or there was no oil leak, then, that's a different scenario. One thing you don't want to do is file a complaint with Consumer Protection. It's basically a waste of time because they can't do anything. They're going to just tell you to hire a lawyer like every other agency, which we'll talk about over the summer. But in any event, these are the things that you have to do. What we've seen is you walk into a dealership, it smiles. It's unbelievable. They have a team of people that greet you. Some of these people, or all of them, are on commission basis. In other words, they get a commission for every dollar you spend. And the mechanic and the foreman, they actually have commission quotas. The more work they do, the more money they make. So in my case, I brought my car there, for instance, for an oil change. And they found an oil leak that wasn't actually there. I did actually have an oil leak, and we'll talk about that down the road in our podcast about very ruthless dealerships who will just take your money and smile. It's really bad. It's really bad. And if the state isn't going to step in and start suspending licenses, As consumers, we just say, all right, look, we're not going to go there. I mean, they're not selling cars, let's be honest. How else are they making their money? It's unbelievable. These are mini Disney worlds all over the state, and you could go in there and they'll tell you, hey, you need a new manifold bolt, or you need this, or you need that. Things that you never even heard of and you don't even know. You know what? Your tie rod doesn't look good. We should change it. So anyways, we want you to recognize that you have an alternative if you feel you've been possibly taken advantage of by a dealer. And not only that, when you buy your car, you're not buying the brand. No. Shucks, I thought having a GMC or a Chevy was something. But if you don't have great dealerships, it's a waste. Yeah. Just keep putting along with your old used car. Just get the repairs done until you can find an actual dealership that you're comfortable living with for the next 10 years. Because really, that's exactly how long that relationship is going to be, about 10 years. So, why am I doing this? Because I hate when people get taken advantage of. But in this case, women and the elderly. Oh, yeah. I mean, I was in the waiting room. And these people don't understand. My car was fine. I brought it in for an oil change. I'm getting all new brakes and rotors. It's absolutely bullshit. And by the way, I have a bullshit meter.
Bullshit level, DEFCON 5.
Yeah, that's where this is, DEFCON 5. It's absolutely 100% bullshit.
A little messy back.
That's all right. Hey guys, as you know, I'm with Matt from Medford Motors, and he wants to toss in some awesome knowledge from his experience with these giant corporations and what they do. Remember, it costs $3 million to build these facilities. Where do you think they're getting the money?
So basically the technicians that they hire, right from, we'll start with in the shop area. Most of these guys are, the very first time they're working on a vehicle is possibly your vehicle. They are hiring them either right out of tech school or hiring them just because they put in an application. They don't need to have any qualifications.
Even work release.
So definitely work release. So when I worked for these places and they would send me a new hire and I would go to train them, they most of the time show up with no tools, no knowledge or experience how to work on vehicles. But the quality of work and the safety was never a concern for my higher ups. It was always about the dollar amount, how much money we can squeeze out of a customer when they come in. I went against the grain and I operated the shops on a personal level. Although it wasn't the corporate policies and they weren't happy about that, they were more happy about the amount of money that I was bringing to the shop and the profit. So they use subpar quality parts. Then when it comes time for a warranty, like the Honda that I have out there was here now for the third time. They tried to get it fixed. It had a repair that went wrong. We looked at it. We diagnosed it. We sent it back to where it came from. They tried it a second time. Now this is on the third time that they tried to fix the same exact problem, and they actually made it worse. Not to mention now this has been going on for over the past year, and how much money that has cost that customer, where she could have just brought it to us and we would have done it the first time the right way. But the unqualified help that they have is really not only hurting people's pockets, but it's also putting people's safety in danger.
Do you know GMC charged me $12? I lost the little thing that goes on that where you put the air in the tire. $12 for that little piece of plastic. Are you kidding me?
See, something like that, when a customer comes in for an oil change, we always do a safety inspection on every single vehicle. The reality is most of the vehicles that we service have 50,000 miles or more. They do need some work, but we focus on safety. We don't try to go after the customer's money. That's not our end game. Our end game is to do quality work, make the car last as long as it can, and make sure it's safe for the road. But if a car comes in for an oil change and it's missing a valve cap, we put it on. There's no charge for it.
And that's how it should be. I always say, when I was a kid, my parents would take my family car to places like this. Never go to a dealership. These are people who they have kids in the community. They go to church with you in the community. They're not traveling from far away because they spent millions of dollars building this ginormous Disney-like repair center to screw you. But anyways, that's my opinion, an expert's opinion. Come visit these guys. And by the way, if you got a cool old car, this place is loaded with them. Trust me, give him a call, stop by. Matt's a great guy. This is Mike from Make CT Better, CT Safe Roads, and Vent CT. So hey, I took my car to a dealership, a GMC dealership, and basically to get my oil changed, and they said, hey, your oil is leaking, and they want to charge me $500. So this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's clear that this GMC dealer was going to rip me off.
What's going on out there?
Hey guys, this is Mike from Make CT Better, CT Safe Roads, and the Vent. So check it out. I'm going to introduce Richard. He's a third generation at Bob's service station here in Stratford. And I'm going to let him tell you, come sit down. These guys don't have fancy things. They don't have secretaries. They don't have waiting rooms. In fact, it's 50 degrees in here. These guys aren't going to screw you. They're going to take care of you. Go ahead.
Yep, we've been here for 50 years. My grandfather, my father, my brother, myself. We just do honest work at honest prices, try to help people out. Obviously, we have to make a living like everybody else, but we're not trying to rob everybody. At the end of the day, we leave with our integrity. We're just looking to help out and make a living.
And remember, they're in the community that you live in. Not somebody traveling from Hartford that's a manager of a giant place that repairs cars. But at the end of the day, this is a great place. Hey, thanks for watching my videos. Peace out, everybody. God bless.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep. Hey, I'm Mike from Make CT Better, and I'm with Chris. I'm not going to use her last name because, you know, she wants to kind of keep her name as a secret. But ironically, and we'll talk about it later, my investigation started at Maritime Chevrolet. Tell us about your experience at Maritime Chevrolet.
I had a horrible experience. As a female, I felt very taken advantage of to some degree, because when I went into Maritime Chevrolet, I was very open with the salesman, two of them, and told them that I was going through some personal matters and that I needed a car desperately. I had an important job. I had kids who I had to take to school and transport around. And I told this to the salesman and said, here, this is how much money I'm willing to spend. This is the amount of the loan I want. I don't want any more than that. It took a few times to get him to realize that I was firm on my amount that I wanted, and also that I had gotten a loan outside of them. They were upset that I did that. They didn't like that because I got it through my credit union.
Yeah, because they make more money.
Idea. Exactly. So they were very upset about that, which made me feel uncomfortable. And in the end of it all, I wound up getting promised that a used car, which was my intention. I wanted to buy a good used car with a good warranty on it. And I figured that's a good investment with a 3-year backup. So they were selling me a car. They assured me that it met all the criteria. It's a certain point system General Motors has, and you meet all these certifications. And when I took the car, the day I was giving him the check for the deposit, actually, I asked him if I could test drive the car, and I took it to my mechanic on the fly. And
by the way, her mechanic is Bob's Service Station in Stratford,
Yes.
which I did a post earlier. Solid guys.
totally
Trust me
can trust them.
Unbelievable. And by the way, we just found out about this today during this interview. Is that crazy?
Yeah, that's really, you can trust them. Men or women. I mean, yeah, it's very comfortable automobile store, whatever.
The honest guy, most honest guys you can
Yes.
ever find
Yes.
in the industry.
And it's tough to find that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what happened is I took it to them. They put the car up on the hill, whatever you call that thing.
Like they did with my car when they found that the Dario tried to cheat me by charging me for an oil leak that didn't exist. Same thing.
Okay, so what happened is in my case, it was an oil leak that didn't exist, and that the car had several pans and things underneath it that were cracked, and there was leaks, and that my mechanic said it's not just a simple thing that happened on its way over here when he went through a pothole, because that's what the dealer tried to tell us.
Hold on. Time out. Wait, I gotta get something. Just relax 1 second. It's very important.
Okay.
So I incorporated this.
Bullshit level, DEFCON 5.
This is what they are. All they do is talk bullshit and lies. I'm sorry for interrupting you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, that's good. That's exactly what it was. So that's it. Basically, at Bob's, he spoke to the dealer, and then he got on the phone with the manager over here at the dealer, and he said to them, "What are you going to do for her?" He then went as far as to call General Motors, because that's who backs them, and they somehow came to an agreement that I would get a brand new car, the same car, but brand new, and take whatever's on the lot and just leave. And that's what happened is I got a brand new
A proven track record of deception and thievery.
Yes.
Yeah, it's simple.
Yes.
So keep going.
Well, I then started taking the car there for repairs, and the car just has never ever been right. And they would tell me that it's not covered under the bumper to bumper, and I'd have to call every time I brought my car there for any type of service. And I bought tires through them. Like I try to buy through them to keep it all, in the same family, so they don't say, oh, you put Taurus cars, a Taurus wheels on a General, whatever. So I've never had a time there where I've had good service. The service people are very rude. They make accusations that the car is not meant to go fast. They would say just very demeaning things, and I just felt they're very, very rude over there, and I would never.
By the way, I got the same experience. Very demeaning. If you wanted to say something to their CEO, Eric Sandstrom, what would you want to tell him?
Shame on them. I really felt very, very upset about that experience. I feel like crying.
Listen,
so
I'm sick because
so
I live in
used by
Fairfield.
that.
I grew up in this town,
and a lot of
and I
people
got to be honest with
think
you.
they're honest.
This doesn't happen in Fairfield, Connecticut.
Right.
Apparently, it does.
No, right. And I feel bad because it's exactly. I went to the Milford. I found that the Milford people were actually much nicer. I would bring my car in on a Saturday. They would be very nice.
By the way,
Very
Milford
clean.
Chevy is your best Chevy dealer anywhere in Fairfield County. And I'm just telling you, those guys, are straight shooters. Regardless of what Maritime or D'Addario tell you, those guys are straight shooters.
So now it's 6 years later. I still have the car. And looking for a new car, I won't be going to.
Wow.
Chevy.
So her car didn't even last 6 years.
No.
So as we continue our discussions, like Chris, I brought my vehicle to Maritime Chevrolet. And I was, just, hey, I'm driving my car a lot. I'm doing a lot of filming, as everybody can see. So, I think I'm leaking a little oil. I noticed a drop in my driveway. So they called me up and said, oh, this is wrong. My car was ready to die. And by the way, I was doing about 400 miles every day. Never had a problem. But anyways, so I said, all right, go do the work. By the way, I had Car Shield, who out of the $7,000 that I had to pay, they only covered $500. So be very careful when you are cautious that these aftermarket warranties are going to really cover your car, because they don't. They cover some stuff, but in the end, you got to be very careful. And most dealers, they don't even want to deal with these aftermarket warranties. So that could have been the situation too. But moving on, so I got my car back, and as you could see here, I'm putting an actual photo of my dashboard. So typically my Denali hits 210 once it warms up. So the manager at Maritime Chevrolet told me, no, that's not true. So I went down to Napa in Fairfield. They said he's lying. I went to Pet Boys. I asked them. Yeah, they're lying. It's a dealership. They're going to tell you whatever. So here's the thing. They actually broke my car, gave it back to me, and lied about breaking it. Now, to their defense, Eric Sandstrom did pay me to fix that particular part. So, and I had it fixed at Milford Chevy. And by the way, Milford Chevy is a pretty good dealership. Not all dealerships are shitty. It's just some are, just ruthless. Jeep in Milford's another great dealership, honest. It's not like that everywhere. But for the most part, we see these dealers just coming in and taking advantage of people left and right. So moving on, I was a little taken back. Wow, what else did Maritime Chevrolet charge me for, or they didn't do? So in the end, I said, let me go to GMC, D'Addario. I bought my wife's car there, and my wife takes her car there, pretty much no issues. I mean, she doesn't really take it there. She takes it there to get oil changed. And by the way, I started changing the oil about 1.5 years ago because they weren't using Mobil 1 oil, which I prefer, unfortunately. So we kept moving forward. So I got to D'Addario. I said, look, I just want you to check to make sure this work was done. And I get the phone call from their service manager saying, yeah, no, they never did it. I'm like, really? So D'Addario charged me to do the same work that I just paid $7,000 to Maritime. Well, minus the $1,000, it's like $6,000, and minus the $700 that was covered under the bullshit car warranty from CarMax or Car Shield, excuse me. And so, all right, do the work. So I then proceeded to file some complaints with the state of Connecticut. And what I found is that most of these people are working remote still. I get it, but when you hear someone playing video games in the background while you're on the phone with someone from the state, that's a huge red flag. And in fact,
Bullshit detected. Take precautions.
really, yeah. So I then turned and said, well, okay, these guys didn't do the work. I filed a complaint with the state. I filed a complaint with the bank. Moving forward, 6 or 8 months later, I brought my car back to, in December, I brought my car back to D'Addario. And I think these guys just figure, hey, we need an extra 500 or 1,000. I'm not bullshitting you. This guy called me up. Now, I spent between the two dealerships almost $14,000 to fix my oil leak. Yeah, I'm not kidding you. Anyways, I went and picked my car up because I told the guy, I paid you to fix the oil leak. I brought my car to Bob's service station in Stratford. Sure enough, there was no oil leak. So I'm like, okay, this is strange. Now I'm wondering, Did these guys lie to me about Maritime not actually doing the work? Although, remember, Maritime broke my car. So, you kind of got to think outside the box and say, if they broke my car, did they really do all the work? But in any event, we started doing a little research. Sure enough, 2 days later, my wife's car wouldn't start. We called AAA. They said, you need a new battery. My wife's like, I just bought a new battery. From who? So I'm looking at the invoice. The Dario sold my wife back in May. She had brought her car in for an oil change. They sold her a battery for like $500 and didn't even put it in the car. I mean, come on. Wow. This is where we're at. Greed turns into being a straightaway thief. But anyways, again, all the facts are going to be in a special file if you want to read through the notes and documents for this, because I'm going to put out an op-ed. I think this is absolutely nuts that someone can go to a dealership in anywhere in this country and be taken advantage of. And then, you move on to the section of the banking part, which I'll get into in just a second. I'm trying to understand why M&T Bank doesn't investigate disputes. I'm told, and by the way, I actually have inside experience, that they take the side of the merchant regardless. So as a small business, I bought some of these beautiful gloves. Last couple of years, they're GFP, they're awesome. Oh my God, I bet you a lot of people have these. So I bought 2 pairs, I never got them. I disputed this with M&T Bank. They reversed the charges after 30 days. They re-reversed them back, and I asked them why. They said, well, we couldn't prove if you got the merchandise or didn't. I'm like, really? So basically, you take the side of predatory merchants. Hey, thanks for watching my video. Peace out, everybody. God bless you and God bless America.